Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast,
Powered
the
by
show that
Riverside
delves into
FM.
the reasons we love to choose, wrap, and share gifts with each other. Hi, I'm your host, Eve Cale, founder of Gift Wrapped by Eve, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving while also considering the planet. Each episode, I'll be sharing ideas or interviewing guests who will help inspire your choice of gifts and how you present them. Whether that's for your own gifts or products you create or sell in your small business, will help you consider how to make small changes that can help your gifting be a little greener. Welcome to the podcast, Yvonne Cole. I'm so excited that you're here, not only because I'm really excited about talking to you about gifts and gift wrapping, but because our conversations over the last few years have inspired me to start the podcast in the first place. So it's fantastic to have you here, and I can't wait for us to get into chatting. So first of all, why don't you introduce yourself to my listeners?
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. And I feel very honoured to be the first guest on your podcast. So thank you very much, Eve. So my name's Yvonne. I'm a busy mum to 3 boys who are aged 16, 14 and 10. I'm a stay-at-home mum, but I keep very busy with lots of volunteering at my son's school. And in between the mountains of laundry and all the cooking and meal prep that I've got to do to keep my kids going and my husband going, I try and fit in some fitness, which obviously we do some of that together, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
I'm also learning to play the piano, which is something that I've wanted to do since I was a child. So my spare time is kind of taken up with those things. And at my school, I do volunteering. I'm part of the PTA at my school, but I also go in and help on school trips and that sort of thing. So those things all fill my week completely.
Wow, that's I love our chats on a Monday morning when we are doing our workouts, hearing about everything that you're up to.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to keep busy. I think there's a saying, isn't there? If you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I'm definitely always the busy person.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely somebody who people will ask to help, I'm sure, because you are brilliant at organising events. And I love hearing particularly about what you're doing, what you've done over the last few years with the PTA and all the different um, events and ideas and the creativity that goes into that side of things as well.
Been a big part of my life for the last 7 or 8 years. I've actually just stepped down as being the chair of my school's PTA, just because my son is approaching the last year at school, and I kind of wanted to just spend a bit more time generally helping rather than really focused helping, just to take a bit of pressure off. But I've actually launched a podcast about my time on PTA, and I'm up to episode 24 now on it. But I find it's a really great outlet for me, because I have a lot to say about about the PTA.
Yeah.
And I would just bore my friends to death if I just talk to my friends. My podcast is my way of me being able to talk about PTA things, related things, and kind of get it out of my system. But I do have some listeners, so I must be saying some good things. I have had some quite nice feedback from other volunteers who are on their PTAs about the things that I'm talking about. So yeah, I really like doing my podcast.
Well, I think that is the great thing about podcasting, isn't it? Is that you can really drill down into a very specific topic and you can help people all over the world who are interested in that particular topic. And like you say, it can be a bit of an outlet to share all those extra things that you want to go and you want to talk about in detail. So I guess that's what this is about as well. It's just really having those conversations with people about how they feel about gifts and receiving them, giving them, choosing them, wrapping them. That's what I meant to do on here. But thank you for inspiring me, Yvonne, because I've been watching and listening with real interest as to what you've been doing with your podcast. So here I am finally doing it, and you're my first guest. So let's talk a little bit more about gifts and how you feel about them. So to start off with, what occasions do you tend to give gifts for?
My main ones are Christmas and birthdays, but I do Mother's Day and Father's Day, so my mum and dad are still around. But I also do find that I'm doing a lot of thank you gifts to various different people. Obviously, with my kids being still at school, there's the teachers to do thank you gifts for, and I do feel that teachers do so much for my children. The activities and the learning and the creativity that teachers put into their jobs, that all goes into my children. And I feel like they do so much for my children. The least I can do is to give them a thank you gift. And so for the school teachers, at Christmas time, I've done it for a few years actually. I make a Christmas Rocky Road, which is a Nigella Lawson recipe. I'm giving all my secrets away now. I make a huge batch of Rocky Road, which I then chop up, and I buy some little gift bags and just give each teacher about 5 pieces, generous pieces of Christmas Rocky Road. In addition to a Christmas thank you card. And I've done that for a few years. And last year, was it last year or the year before, I was sort of running out of time at Christmas, but the children reminded me they wanted to give their Rocky Road. So that was really nice that it's that particular thing has become part of their tradition at Christmas to give teachers. So I do that for the school teachers. And even though my eldest 2 children are at secondary school, I still do a gift for their tutors, which is the teacher that they see every day.
Yeah.
Obviously not the 10 other teachers.
Yeah, so many.
Be getting a bit mad. And I don't also want to embarrass them to get them to give their teachers a gift. But also it's not just teachers at school, so it's the music teachers that teach my children musical instruments. Again, I just think any sort of teacher is just an amazing job, and teachers can really inspire you and make a difference in your life, and I'm so grateful to them for doing all the teaching. So thank you gifts are actually quite a big part of my gifting, and trying to come up with new things all the time for the teachers. Because I have 3 children and they've been at primary school for like 10 years, it's quite a struggle now to come up with something else. So I do give them a little Christmas gift at Christmas, and then at the end of the summer term I'll give them something else. And I've tried to give them something different each year, but now I'm struggling with the last 2 years of thinking of something different.
Do you think it is important that the gift is different each time?
It probably isn't, but this is where I put pressure on myself to try and, because they've done such a wonderful thing for my children, I try and put effort into finding something for them. I probably started off with box of chocolates, bottle of wine type thing.
Yeah.
And then I branched out a bit and maybe saw something that I thought, oh, that teacher would really like that gift. Or I might have bought something really practical. One year I bought them some notebooks and just did practical stuff. And then last summer I got them each a book, because I love giving books as presents, because I don't think you can go wrong with a book. So I chose a book for each of the teachers that was either connected to their favourite subject or was a book that I particularly enjoyed that I thought they would like.
Wow, you're really thoughtful with your gifting. It's really interesting to hear like how you sort of go about the process of choosing the gifts, particularly the thank you gifts. But yeah, so how do you enjoy that process? Because you sound like you put a lot of thought into it.
I do put a lot of thought into it. I'm not quite sure why I put so much thought into it. I think for me, if someone was to give me a gift and it was something that I know that they'd really thought of me in the gift, those are the gifts that mean the most to me. So it doesn't actually matter what the gift is. If someone has thought, I've seen that, and oh, Yvonne would really like that, or that's something that Yvonne's really interested in, then that's what would mean a lot to me. So I suppose I'm just mirroring that in my gift to other people. But I do find it a double-edged sword, because I can then get really stuck if I can't find something that I think, oh yeah, that's a really nice little thing. And so I can get bogged down into that horrible pit of indecision, and then, oh no, but if I get this, it won't be as good, and I can't find the thing that I actually want to find. And so is this going to be good enough? So sometimes that stalls my gift giving, but I'm trying to learn to move past that and to realize that actually any gift as a thank you gift is I'm sure a welcome gift. So at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter if I can't find the right thing, but I do try and put the effort in.
What kind of ways do you find sort of inspiration for gifts? Where do you look in certain places, or does things just leap out at you, or have you got your go-to places that you look?
So I always try to look in shops, in actual real shops, because the internet is so vast that I find you can't easily find things, which sounds a bit strange, but I just really struggle with that. I
Mhm.
also made a decision a few years ago not to shop on Amazon anymore, mainly because I like going into shops and browsing and seeing the displays, because often the shops give you great ideas. Or I might see something in the shop, not buy it then, but then realize that it's been on my mind, which is a sign that that was the right thing, and then I can go back and get it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do definitely start all of my shopping by going to physical shops. So I
Yeah.
have particular places I go and start the process, and then I do also look on. So I have a sort of collection of websites that sell perhaps more unusual things that you might not see in the shops. So I do look on those websites as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, for example, I have bought things from websites like Not on the High Street before, but
Yeah.
actually going to the website and then trying to find something just by searching, I just find it so difficult. And so I'd much rather try and find a physical thing in a shop
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
I use first.
Do you ever ask other people for recommendations, or do you
Ooh.
find doing your own research better?
Yeah, I would ask people for recommendations, and sometimes people have bought things for me which I have really liked, and then I can find out where that's come from, and I might buy that for somebody else because I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, I definitely have asked people in the past. It's not something I do a lot. I definitely have, yeah.
Okay. And what about things like gift guides? Because often at Christmas, you'll, particularly at Christmas, or sometimes actually for other gift occasions, like Mother's Day is a big one in the UK, you'll see other people putting together guides, like in the press or online. Do you tend to look at those kind of things, or would you find?
I sometimes, if I happen to have a magazine and it happens to be a time of year for presents and they've got a gift guide, I do look at them, but I often don't find them very either very inspiring or they're really expensive and
Yeah,
like too expensive for the gift. I don't think the type of gifts that I give are not really extravagant and really expensive. So,
yeah,
and I wouldn't want someone to feel uncomfortable if I bought something really too
yes,
extravagant.
yeah.
So I don't ever remember really finding any great answers in one of those gift guides, but I probably do always look at them just in case.
Just another little thing to add to the melee of all the research. You sound like somebody who likes to do your research before you don't necessarily buy things on a whim. You like to really consider.
No, not often, but I do have some people that I buy for who are a bit tricky to buy for. And so what I do actually do is I am constantly on the lookout for gifts for those particular people. So, for example, if we go on a family day out, I will always go in the gift shop every single
Yeah.
time. I love a gift shop because they tend to get more unusual things in there. And sometimes that's a great place for buying for tricky people. Stuff
Mm.
that person wouldn't find for themselves, or you get something a bit more unusual. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a really good tip, actually.
yeah. I feel like I've got this sort of radar that's on all the time, and it's constantly like scanning for gifts all the time.
Well, what you described, you've got so many things to be buying for, Christmas and birthday and three children, and family, plus all the teachers. There are a lot of gifts to be buying, and I certainly find that there isn't really a month where there isn't somebody to be thinking of. So to like have that radar on or whatever and be thinking about it throughout the year, so you, you're always thinking about the next one. Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. So that's the process of the choosing of the gifts. But how about wrapping them up? How do you feel about that? Do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. So again, I feel like I have two extremes of this process. The first extreme is that I totally run out of time and have to just emergency wrap it with what I have. Um, and for that, I have bought like a standard wrapping paper. So one of my favorite wrapping papers is from Waitrose, I think, and it is a stripy wrapping paper. I don't know,
Mm.
you might have seen it in the shops. It's just a rainbow striped wrapping
Yeah.
paper. And it's completely gender neutral, it's completely occasion neutral. So I always
Yeah.
have a roll of that in my wrapping paper store, and that is what I will use in an emergency if I haven't had time to do the other thing, which is to actually plan my wrapping, which I've been doing more of since I joined your Facebook page, Eve.
Love to hear.
So I do a lot better wrapping at Christmas time because obviously there's more to wrap. So I can set it aside, or I make sure I set aside time to do it then. I've gathered all the stuff I need and it's all
Yeah.
together surrounding me. So I have much better success with the quality of my wrapping at Christmas than I do any other time of the year.
Really interesting, because sometimes you think it would be the other way around, wouldn't you? Because if you've only got one or two gifts to wrap, then you've got more time and space. But I think maybe we give less mental time and space to thinking about wrapping when it's not Christmas, where we know it's going to be potentially overwhelming. So, oh, that's really interesting. But yeah, I like that idea of having a sort of fail-safe, neutral wrapping ready to go for any occasion. That's a great idea. Yeah, stripes is always good, or spots,
Yeah, they
polka
probably
dots,
work.
that kind of thing. Yeah, fantastic. And do you have any rituals or traditions when it comes to wrapping, about how you wrap things or when you wrap them?
So having three children, I have learnt in my Christmas planning to set aside a few hours of a time to
Yeah,
actually wrap the presents because I've been caught out so many times in the past and been up really late at night trying to get everything finished. So what I do is I also wrap when the children are at school so I don't get interrupted, and I put on a Christmas film on the TV, or I put on Christmas music, or so I have this CD. I still use CDs. I bought from Marks and Spencer's ages ago, and it's a double CD, and it's traditional Christmas carols sung
yeah,
by a choir in Cambridge or something, which I really love those traditional carols, but nobody else in my house likes listening to it. So I indulge myself when I'm wrapping my presents to put on my Christmas music. And I feel that this is going to sound really strange, but I feel that the spirit of Christmas is then kind of being channeled into the presents because like the music's surrounding me and I'm surrounded by all the presents and the
yeah.
love that goes with the presents and then the beautiful ribbons and everything. And so I just like wallow in this lovely Christmas spirit when I'm doing my Christmas wrapping. But that's at the start of my Christmas wrapping. And as the hours go on and I'm really tired and I'm just shoving the sellotape on, maybe the CD's not on at that point, I'm not really sure.
That does sound familiar, I think, to many people. We have this kind of ideal Christmas wrapping present scenario where it's very idyllic and very festive, and then
Yeah.
the reality is that you do eventually get a bit bored.
Yeah.
Even I get bored, and I'm wrapping all the time.
Almost feel
Yeah.
like you get repetitive strain injury sitting in the same position as well for
Mm.
a long time doing the same actions.
Yes, yeah, it's good to break it up and not do it all at once. But sometimes it can feel a little bit like that for a birthday as well, with especially if it's your own child and you maybe when they're a bit younger than they get, then they maybe there are more boxes to wrap. As they get older, perhaps it's less, it's more like maybe experiences or smaller. There's been times when even birthday wrapping seems to take quite a long time. Well, that's a good question actually about experiences. Bonnie, you're a fan of giving experience gifts.
I love experiences. The only downside with experiences, I think, is that you can't do them when you open them. So if I was to give an experience and I had to book the experience, I would probably try and book it as soon after the person opened it as I could, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
One year for Christmas, we gave the children tickets to go to see Harry Potter Studios. And I very naively thought, oh, I'll just book it for a month after Christmas, not realizing how booked up that. So unfortunately, they had to wait quite a long time for their experience, which was a bit of a shame. And my husband bought for me the best experience present I think I've ever had, which was a reading spa at a bookshop in Bath, which is just the most amazing.
Wow, that does sound amazing. No. I mean, just the name of it sounds like
Yeah.
an amazing thing.
So you buy a voucher. It's Mr. B's Emporium in Bath, which is an independent bookshop.
Oh, yes, I
You
do
buy
know
a
that
voucher
shop.
for someone.
Lovely.
I think it's about £90. But within that voucher, you get £60 to spend on books. So you go to the shop, and before you go, about a week before, you email in the type of books that you like to read, and then they match you with one of their booksellers in the shop, and that's the person that you meet at the book spa. And they have a little room upstairs with some like squashy armchairs, and they bring tea or coffee, whatever you like, and a really good chocolate brownie, and you just sit with this bookseller and you talk about books, and it is just so indulgent and delightful. And first of all, you explain what books you've read that you really liked, and then the bookseller will ask you questions about any particular authors you like, or is there anything you'd like to try and get into, that kind of thing. And then they go away in the shop and you're left with your nice tea and chocolate brownie. And then they come back staggering under the weight of all these books that they want to recommend to you. And then they sort of give you brief plot outlines for some of them. And then they just leave you to look through them and you pick the ones that you want to take home.
Wow.
£60. You don't have to spend all your £60. Whatever you
Yeah.
don't spend, they give you as a voucher to take away. But it was just so lovely. It was I actually did it with my son because I got one for him as well. So we kind of had a joint one together, and it was just such a lovely thing to do. And I love reading and I love books, and I came away with some books that I would never have picked off the shelf. I didn't even know they existed or anything. So that was a really good experience. But I have to say, you do for that one have to book a year in advance because they are so popular. Yeah, so I did wait a long time for it, but it was so worth it.
It was worth it. And I think that sounds like it sounds like sort of like personal styling, but for books. Fantastic. Yes, it is that you do have to, when you give an experience gift, you have to give it to somebody with patience,
Yes.
usually. So that needs to be a consideration. So depending and I have done that the same thing myself. We have given experience gifts for the last few years at Christmas to our children, and although they love the experiences that we've given, occasionally on the day there's a little bit of underwhelm when actually opening the gift. So how do you wrap an experience gift? How have you done that before?
So if it was with the Harry Potter Studios gift for the children, I actually gave some extra little Harry Potter things with it. So we've already had quite a lot of Harry Potter things. So to find something different was quite a challenge, but I kept it simple and I just went with socks. So all my children
Right. Yeah.
are in a different Harry Potter house, so I got them socks for their house, and I think maybe I got them something else because I can't remember now. But I also, for my eldest son a couple of years ago, we got him a voucher to do a mountain biking course, and to go with that voucher, I bought him some mountain biking clothes because he didn't really have anything.
Yeah.
So I might get a little something that kind of matches the experience, that is a gift for when they open the experience. There's a little something there.
Yeah. Something
Um,
related.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it is hard to wrap an experience. I suppose I would do it if it's a voucher. I would try and put it in a fancy envelope and put some ribbons on it or something. Make it look as enticing as possible. I think that's the only thing you can do, really.
Yeah, you can. So because I've experienced the children being a little underwhelmed sometimes with the unwrapping, this year when we gave them an experience which was a Monopoly experience, I wrapped up some pieces of the Monopoly set, but then I did some different layers. So they had a few layers to unwrap.
Well, that's like a pass the park.
Yeah, before they eventually, with a few
Oh,
little layers of clues before they eventually got to the voucher explaining what the gift was.
oh,
So
that's
then that added to the anticipation,
yeah.
and it worked quite well. But yeah, that is one of the challenges with giving experiences. But I do you can be more creative, can't you? And it maybe helps with that feeling of, well, I've given them that before, because there are often, even if you've given a similar thing, like say you've given a theatre experience, then there are always new things coming out,
Yeah.
new things to go to. So that can work quite well. Fantastic. So how about receiving gifts? Are there any particular gift memories that stand out? I mean, you've talked about the reading spa. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that stands out for you that has been like a special gift?
Yeah. So I've actually got it to show you, but
Fantastic.
it's not really a gift as such. So it's something that I received when I was about 7 in a party bag from my friend's birthday party.
What?
It was
This is
so
amazing.
it was a thank you gift from her for going to her party, but it's a bookmark. I don't know if you can see it. I'm just holding it up. It's a
Mhm.
bookmark that she made. So it's just a piece of green card
Yeah,
with pressed flowers stuck all over it, and then she covered it with clear sticky black plastic and put like a
yeah.
little tag on the bottom. And I was so thrilled to receive this, and I've still got it and I still use it. But I just remember thinking how much work has gone into this bookmark, because she would have had to collect all the flowers and the
Yeah.
seeds and then press them, and then like take them out of the press, then arrange them on the bookmarks. And she must have had, well, at least 5 to 10 children at her party. So she must have made, a lot of these. And I just think it's so lovely and I love it so much. And she's my dearest friend, and we're still friends now. One of the most precious things that I own.
Amazing gift. I think it just goes to show you that actually the smallest gifts can have the biggest impact
Yeah.
because, and it's a beautiful gift, but it's also a really practical gift.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So every time I use it, obviously, I
You
think
think
of
of her.
every
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
that is probably the most precious gift.
Absolutely love this. This is amazing for our first episode as well. So to yeah, fantastic. And obviously this is audio, but maybe we can get a picture of it to put
Oh
on
yeah,
our social
I can
media,
send it.
maybe Yvonne, if you'd let us. It's absolutely beautiful. And like dried pressed flowers just they
Yeah.
last forever, don't they?
Yes, and I've tried doing pressed flowers myself, and I know how hard it is to do pressed flowers. They're not an easy thing to do. And then
Mm.
when they've been pressed, they're so delicate to move around and everything. So I remember as a child when I looked at this, how impressed I was as a child. Thinking,
Yeah.
wow, she's made that. That's amazing.
Even more so as an adult, I think, as you
Yeah.
realise more what she would have had to do. That's such a great example. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing it with us. So, as you know, with the Greener Gifting Gang, then my mission is to help people experience the joy of gift giving whilst also considering the planet. So, do you take being greener into consideration with your gifting or your wrapping?
Yes, I do. Yes, with my gifting. Well, all the things I buy, I try and buy as much environmentally friendly stuff as I can. So I will, avoid things with lots of excess packaging, that kind of thing, when I'm actually purchasing things. But with my gift wrapping, yes, I have moved away from those beautiful, shiny, glittery papers
Yeah, well done.
to more simple papers and paper. I did get the most beautiful wrapping paper from John Lewis a couple of years ago, which I think has gone down as my best Christmas wrapping paper ever. And it was basically brown craft paper,
Yeah.
but they had printed pictures of red squirrels all over it. And it was just the most gorgeous wrapping paper. It seemed to be exactly the right thickness, and it had a really lovely crinkly noise whenever you folded it over your presents. And it was just gorgeous, just loved it. So yes, I've moved more towards the more simple wrapping papers, and I have lots of ribbons that I reuse. And whenever I get a gift and there's a ribbon on it, I will save the ribbon. I haven't had a lot of success with changing my sellotape though, so if I can, I'll buy the greener sellotape. I can't remember.
Zero plastic.
Zero plastic sellotape, but I need to try the paper sellotape, or paper tape, I suppose it's called, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have tried washi tape, but it wasn't very sticky, and I'm hoping the paper tape is stickier.
Stickier. Yeah, because I think washi tape is used often and more decoratively. So it might depend on the weight of the paper that you're using, whether it holds it together
Yeah.
okay. But certainly the paper tape that I use and recommend is really sticky, so it does seem to do a good job. But I know that's the biggest concern most people have about switching is whether it is actually going to stick. So yeah, that is something that the tape that I do recommend does stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really interesting to hear that the changes that you started to make, and I think your example of the paper with the red squirrels just shows you that eco-friendly doesn't have to be
Mm.
boring. In
No, not
fact,
at all.
the opposite. People have got really, really clever about the designs that they offer now because I think they know that they need to encourage people to be greener, but there is always the appeal of something that looks nice too. So
It is
that's really
difficult
good.
in the shops and you see all the lovely wrapping paper. But I also have now a massive box. So I have all my Christmas decorations in boxes, and one of the boxes is just filled with secondhand wrapping paper. So when my kids were sort of about 7 or 8 and they're ripping paper off presents, and I was like putting it all in a pile to recycle it, I was looking at it thinking, well, actually, I could reuse that because that bit hasn't got creased or ripped and it's not got any sellotape on. So I started to keep some wrapping paper from year to year. So I have a box in the loft that's just full of wrapping paper that I then
Yeah.
reuse the next Christmas. Some of the paper I've reused 2 or 3 times in various Christmases. And but so what I do is I wrap using newly bought paper and
Mm.
some recycled paper.
Yeah.
So then the newly bought paper eventually goes into my recycle box, and the recycled paper obviously eventually just gives up because it's been
Yeah.
used too many times. So that's how I do my Christmas wrapping now. I don't tend to recycle so much for birthdays because my kids get more vouchers and things now they're older, so there's less wrapping paper sort of circulating for that. But definitely for
Yes.
Christmas, I do reuse.
Yeah. That's brilliant to hear. I mean, I'm sitting here, the camera is turned this way because if it turned the other way, you would see my boxes of the same, of lots of boxes of things to reuse and repurpose. I realised more recently that actually I've got so many different things that I personally am never going to reuse them all. So I have started making little packs of those. I give them away for free with with a roll of paper tape or something like that, so that you can, especially if you're just starting out with learning some different wrapping skills, then it's a good way of testing things out and having a practice, not using new paper.
Yes.
So that's a tip for you. But it sounds like you've already made quite a lot of changes on your journey to being a bit greener.
I have, and I'm also, because I have a lot of wrapping to do and I have a very busy life, I'm also making sure that I don't feel guilty if I need to buy some wrapping paper, or
Yeah.
if I've run out of sellotape, it's okay for me to buy some more sellotape. I'm
Yeah.
kind of making changes where I can and feeling good about the things that I can do, and hopefully eventually moving in the right, just like constantly moving in the right direction rather than trying to change everything straight away would be too difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about making small changes that feel manageable. And you're right, there's a lot of guilt around being more eco-friendly. I feel like that too. But I've realized that actually that isn't helpful. That doesn't help. That doesn't make a big impact, feeling worried about it, but actually just making and helping other people take small actions is overall going to have a bigger impact than worrying about being perfect,
Yeah,
because none of us are. We're all human. That's the
that's
nature of being human. So sounds like you're making some good changes to me though. Fantastic.
I've also noticed though, when I've gone to buy my wrapping paper and gift tags and things, that the shops have come such a long way with rid of plastic. So just, buying the roll of wrapping paper and it's just stuck together with stickers rather than being cased in plastic. That's so great. And they seem to have done that so quickly. I'm actually very impressed they've managed that.
Yeah, I think it's consumer pressure. I think that as they've realised that that's the way they need to go. So it's great to see how much has changed on the high street in the supermarkets as well. So yeah, there's a lot more choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, even to the extent often you don't actually get a cardboard roll inside a roll of wrapping. A big change. There always used to be those long cardboard rolls
Yeah.
around at Christmas. Not so much now. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we sort of wrap up?
Oh.
Aha, yes. I've been looking forward to saying that.
No, I don't think I have. I just wanted to say that if anybody's part of a PTA at their school or just generally involved in any sort of charity fundraising, then you might find something useful on my podcast. So my website is www.ptapodcast.com, or if you just want to search for the PTA podcast where you listen to your podcasts, you'll find me there. And I talk about challenges facing school fundraising, but I also try and share some fundraising tips and tricks and different sorts of fundraising events that people might not have thought of and might want to try. In fact, Eve, you came on my podcast, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And you talked about running a festive gift wrapping event. So I'm trying to share some different ideas for people just as a helpful thing, really.
Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, do go and check out Yvonne's podcast. It's great to listen to. And yeah, there's an episode with me on it as well. Brilliant. We'll pop all of the details in the show notes as well so people can come and find you. But thank you so much for being my first guest, Yvonne.
My pleasure.
And fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Eve. It was my pleasure to be on your podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. For free resources, head to giftwrappedbyeve.com/freebies and follow Eve on socials at giftwrappedbyeve on Instagram and Facebook.